Welcome back to the PEO Speedwagon Podcast. I am your host, Heather Applegate. I am joined by my co-host, Ryan Shapiro. And today we have Stephanie Neale of Blind Zebra with us. And we are so excited to have you, Steph.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Awesome.
I know this has been a long time coming.
It has. I apologize. Mostly my fault.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You are a bear to schedule. There is no doubt about it. You are a busy, busy woman.
That's why I need help like PEOs.
I love it.
That's right. That's right. That's a good.
You guys have known each other for a while, right? What's your history?
Do you want me to do it? No, the guest should do it. The guest should do it.
We need a flag to raise.
I was just curious how Ryan would tell the story. So I was...
We'll compare and contrast.
That sounds good. I was out in California several years ago now. Gosh, it was 21 maybe, right? As we were coming out of COVID, and had plans to go to Dreamforce, the Salesforce convention, and Outreach was doing this really cool women's in revenue event. And it was all chicks, all badass women. We were in wine country, which was awesome. And it was just a really cool experience. So I got to spend a couple of days there leading up to Dreamforce. And I was in the restroom washing my hands. And there was this woman that was next to me, and I don't remember how we started talking, but it turns out it was Rachel, and she and I just connected immediately. We were also sitting at the same table. I think we had already been sitting at the same table, and just on our connection, we have a lot of personal parallels, and obviously she's super smart and awesome, and so we just connected, and we've stayed in touch for a really long time. I feel like she's one of my pen pals. We write really long emails back and forth sometimes, and occasionally I get to see Ryan and Rachel.
I love it. It's awesome to have women in leadership, women in sales, women in revenue, on here talking. So I'm super excited that you're here. Tell us a little bit about Blind Zebra. Where did the name come from?
That's great. Well, good first question. The name came from our founder, whose last name is also Neale, Brian. He's my husband and business partner. Our founder has a side hustle, so he really has 2 full-time jobs. And when he went out on his own and started the company, he wanted to bring those 2 together in the brand. So he sat down and wrote out different words he was called and descriptors in his second job. So every Sunday or Tuesday or Monday or Thursday or Sunday night, he is on the field wearing stripes like a zebra, getting accused of being blind, along with a lot of other things you probably shouldn't say on a podcast, and officiates NFL games. So he is a current NFL official. He's entering his 13th season. A few years ago, he achieved his lifelong dream of working the Super Bowl out in LA. It was, so cool. I should know this, the Rams and the Bengals, I think. Yeah, it's really cool. And you'll see if, hanging around BZ, there are definitely some football references. Our sales process is all named after football. But other than that, he just brings cool leadership stories from the field into the work that we do.
How cool. I love it.
It's a great name. It's like every time I reference you guys and I bring you guys up, I feel like if on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, when I say the name Blind Zebra, they're like, okay, then there's a pause, and then I describe and reference what Brian does. They're like, oh, that's smart. They actually, it's like a full come to fruition on the name.
It's really cool, and a great excuse to have zebra print everywhere at home and at the office.
So
Do you ever get tired of the zebra print? In your home?
I don't. We have it in as you know, we mostly have it in the lounge. Yeah. So we have it in very specific areas. I would not be able to have it across the house.
Yeah.
I can see the chair moving against the background, and it's like an optical illusion. I feel like I'm in an art exhibit.
I'm camouflaged.
That's right. So funny. There we go.
That's right. If this interview goes poorly, you just put it over and you disappear.
You won't even see me.
Invisibility
cloak. I never thought about that. Totally. I'm a Harry Potter fan too.
I love it.
There you go.
Okay, so tell us more about what Blind Zebra does. What's your core focus? What do you bring to the market?
Yeah, I love that you say core focus because that's what we call it around here. Our core focus is to make selling simple and to create really great, meaningful community for B2B sales teams across the country. So a lot of times I'll ask people, so for listeners, if they've ever heard of EOS or the Entrepreneurial Operating System, or the book Traction by Gino Wickman. If they're involved in that program at all or aware of the tools there, what we do is basically that for sales.
Cool.
So we
very organized, streamlined.
Very. Are you guys running on EOS?
Loosely?
We are. Loosely is a good way to describe it. But yes, structurally, we are.
That's awesome. Well, and I'm sure it'll come up again at this point. It has helped us organize our business and gain traction so much quicker than we were before. So yeah, that's what we do. To do that, we have our own operating system for sales teams. It's just made up of really simple checklist processes and SOPs. It does three things primarily. It systemizes sales execution. So old school sales training and coaching is what we used to do. And that was all about what I call the magic now, what to say, how to negotiate, those sorts of things. What we do is systemize the action. So in our world, you either do it or you don't do it. You either send the email the way that it's supposed to be sent, you clean out your pipeline the way that you're supposed to. And all of that is laid out in the system. So it systemizes sales execution. It creates accountability instead of nagging. So I was a sales leader not my whole life, but a large part of my career. And a lot of the management I did was through, hey guys, get your pipeline cleaned up, or hey guys, can you get this or that? I don't know how, and I'm Midwestern, so everybody's a guy. And then third and finally, it keeps CRM up to date. It gives people forecasts and a pipeline that they can actually trust. So that's what we do. And in the meantime, accidentally almost, we created this awesome community, or the people involved are the ones that created the community of just really forward-thinking, super successful, really fun sales leaders. And when they get together, it's like a reunion, whether they've met each other before or not. So that's been a really cool side benefit.
I'm sure that's a very fun, extroverted reunion.
It gets loud.
Yeah.
We've had, Rachel and I've had the opportunity, I think now twice, to go to some of those, and they're really wonderful. They're really well organized. I mean, yes, it's a lot of people having fun and connecting and building upon that community, but you guys also do a really excellent job of like organizing all those extroverts to get some learning and things done. And as a recovering introvert, it feels like a safe space for me to go to. So.
There's a corner for you somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of organized, an organized event and just organized in general, tell me a little bit more about how you joined Blind Zebra and your role there as, I see, CEO and integrator.
Yeah, I joined Blind Zebra back in 2019, just right at the end of the year. Brian, my husband and business partner, had been a sales coach, as I just mentioned, traditionally for about 20 years at that time, I think. I should know. And we ended up attending a couples connection strategic planning session for business owners. He was in a group called Strategic Coach. Yeah. And they had this, Strategic Coach? It's a great platform. Well, a lot of the EOS stuff comes from Coach. So I don't know if you know, Heather, they have occasionally these couples connections. So one of them has to be a member, and they bring their spouse, and we literally built out the strategy for our life like you do a business.
Love it.
So we looked 30 years out, backed it up. How old are we going to be? How old are our kids going to be? What do we want it to look like? And we landed that we wanted to scale the content that he had been teaching and developing, and that I'd had the chance to use with my last 3 sales teams. We wanted to scale it and take it to more people. So we put a plan in place. We picked a date. That was in May of 19. We picked June 1st, 2020. You heard that I started at the end of 19. 2 weeks after we picked that date, I walked in and was fired out of nowhere. And I believe things happen for a reason, and they happened for us in a way that allowed me to join the business before COVID hit. So that's how I landed. I'm CEO because nobody else wanted to do it.
Well, it sounds like you are a good one. As you were talking about some of your structures and keeping everything on the rails, I was like, we need you. We need people like you in our lives. So that leads us to the integrator. So say more about that. And what's your secret sauce coming into Blind Zebra, and what role do you play to keep everything on the rails?
Yeah, yeah. My secret sauce and my real superpower is in selling and in leading sales teams and developing salespeople. I love doing that. But of the two of us at the time, I was much more detail oriented, process driven. So what I brought was the understanding of the revenue side, how to grow quickly so that we could finance additional growth. What I was missing was everything on the strategy side. Not only the general business acumen, I have a liberal arts degree. I studied English literature. I didn't take a single business class in college. I have no background in it. So I didn't have that to lean on. So that's where I've really been working on trying to get better. I also don't look into the future really well. So that's why my partner in crime, my visionary, Brian, does a really good job of casting out. And then the integrator piece is bringing it all together.
Bringing it all together, making it happen. I love it. And so, this is PEO Speedwagon Podcast. So I want to touch a little bit on PEO. Tell me a little bit of your journey. Did you know what a PEO was when you joined Blind Zebra?
It's a great question. And I find so many people still don't know what a PEO is.
Absolutely.
It's, and when they hear, they're like, what? I didn't know that existed. So I did not know is the answer. I didn't know coming in that PEOs existed. When we sat down to start looking at things like benefits, payroll, the basic things to keep you out of trouble with the government, all of that stuff was way too in the weeds and out of my comfort zone. I just did not feel comfortable. And fortunately, Brian had worked with clients in the past and was aware of PEOs. Former clients that had used them and said, let's just look into this. And so we did, and it really quickly showed us this is worth outsourcing the thinking. The mental capacity is going to take me to learn and figure out and manage HR functions. This is totally worth it.
And how big was your team at that time?
Technically, when we first started looking, it was only 2 of us, and then we quickly grew to 4 and grew from there. But yeah, when we first started, our accountant, who was a partner, and she was fractional at the time, she did our payroll through Gusto, and we had 1 employee.
Yeah.
So that was pretty easy. But then as soon as I joined, I lost the benefits of having, full-time employment with a company that supplies those. So we were on the hunt for that too. And I thought, I don't even know how to find insurance, and it can't be great for just the 2 of us, I got to think.
Right.
So... And it's not. It wasn't.
What's interesting is people get introduced in a lot of different ways to PEO. You had your journey of figuring it out. Some have to suffer through sales reps like beating down their door to do it. But what's really wonderful about your story is it's about time and focus. That core focus, like what I believe immensely that you capitalized on, which is, I bet at some level, this PEO's had this impact that you've worked it with, is that it allowed you to focus on growing the business, the things that were in your wheelhouse, the things that needed attention. And I believe that when a business owner, an entrepreneur, a founder, or really any key employee is focused on what's core to the organization's success, that the success equation of that business goes up. And that when they don't, and they get pulled into benefits, payroll, compliance, all this really fun stuff, like the success equation goes down. And it's hard to see it happen because you feel these are essential things you have to do. And the reality is they are. But that business owner's loss or dilution of focus hurts that organization. And you were able to see that and sidestep it and focus on what you needed to.
Oh, without a doubt, you nailed it. And that's not something, that idea and strategy was so foreign to me, of like, let's actually pay someone else to do this so that my brain power and the things that I'm good at can come through. And that it was easier for me to do with the PEO because I truly knew nothing. And as I've grown as a leader, that's something I've really had to think about is what's my hourly rate? What else? What's the cost of not doing the other thing I could be doing right now? Because I grew up a Midwestern gal. Everything was looking for a deal. We were always saving. I learned how to do all the things, change my own oil and all of that. And so for me, it's like, I could do this myself, but oh my gosh, I can't imagine how much it would have cost in my hourly rate to have learned enough.
You're so spot on because I mean, you actually answered the question, but I see business owners, business leaders understandably so, default to grit. Like if I can save a little bit of money, like that shows up. Like, and I, as a business owner, business leader, like should do that. Like I should default to grit versus outsourcing. But they didn't look around the corner and go, okay, well, what does that actually cost me? Like if I'm actually trying to save money or be efficient, am I actually executing that by doing it myself? And what you find is it's actually not true. It does. I mean, but that doesn't show up in your general ledger. It doesn't show up in your P&L for a little bit. And so you have to be able to look on the horizon and go like, what I'm investing in myself and my focus now is going to pay me back tenfold in the future.
Right. It's so dangerous that it doesn't show up that way because you can lose so much time. And I just continuously can point back to areas where I wish I would have brought in experts. Like not only am I not doing it and not executing on the day-to-day that needs to happen, but the people that are doing it for me are doing it super well. And they know the secrets and they know the easy buttons and I don't. So like not only it's going to take me longer and forever, but I would never have been confident I was doing everything right.
Yeah, I hear that. There's so much that needs to be remembered, so much that needs to be known, little details. And so to see that across payroll, across benefits, across compliance, across HR strategy, that's just a lot that's going to take you out of your lane and slow you down.
For sure.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the journey. You jumped right into this CEO role. You knew right away you were going to move into this lane of PEO. It wasn't really that you were grinding through a process and being bogged down. You just knew right away, hey, I don't know these things and I need to pull in some people who do so that I don't get slowed down in my progress making. So tell me a little bit, maybe when you started evaluating choices and options, what alternatives did you consider? Do you remember this?
Yeah, I think we considered a couple. We are big on connecting with others and supporting our people. It's how we teach people to sell is through connections, genuine connections. And so we went to our network and said, who should we talk to? I may have even posted on LinkedIn. I think I did actually. Who do you partner with?
That's a dangerous one. Then you get
a million
sales reps.
Well, you mentioned it earlier, but I think PEO and recruiters, those are the two that are in my DMs constantly. It's so competitive. So if we have time during this conversation, the saleswoman and myself want to hear about what you see in the market on the sales side, because it looks like a grind.
It is a grind. I mean, it's for all the reasons you just described, like all these different things coming together that are connected, disconnected, focus, all these things. It's a really hard sale. Like I mean, I've been a sales leader in large PEOs and worked with hundreds of PEO reps. And I see the struggle it is to really kind of convey this conceptual concept of the impact of time and focus into a dollar amount. It's really challenging for all the reasons we just described. I do think the way that the prospecting model occurs wears customers out by the time that person actually hits the door, or now the Zoom meeting, that they feel like they're already being sold to. So I think there's a decay of trust that has to be rebuilt quickly, because they are relentless, as you just talked about. So it's a hard thing. It's a hard thing to balance hitting sales metrics, putting in activities, showing you're doing the work, and then trying to execute on the other side what is a fairly strategic sales process, because it's driven around people. So like that's where we've seen a shift towards more marketing automation. We've also seen a shift in the industry we're in, which is PEO brokerage. Like people enjoy PEO brokerage as a distribution channel to get to this decision, because now it's much more in that advisory environment than the direct sales model. So it's a definitely evolving one. But I think what you're touching on is one of the drivers of that change is that business owners are getting worn down by getting hit email, phone, text, LinkedIn, social media, and going like, holy hell, these people are relentless.
They are. And it's anytime you see competition like that, you think of the whole blue ocean strategy and like where is the opening. And that's why I love what you guys are doing. It's that concierge approach and that like truly figuring out what people need and bringing in the right partners. And then obviously the partners you guys work with, I got to think they are good people. They do good work. They're good to their customers. So then it cuts all that out. But if I'm in that market, I'm thinking, how do I do it totally differently than everybody else? Because landing in my DMs is not going to get you far. So it's interesting.
It's putting you on blast on a podcast.
That's right.
But I'm curious because you are a sales leader, like, and this is relevant to PEO. This is relevant to lots of other industries. Like, what is your perspective on how people are approaching prospective customers today? Because this is, because there is still there's that covenant that you have with your organization to pursue customers. Like, you accept to do that when you take a check from them. And then 2, you got sales leaders who are banging on you to make results. I'd be curious because you guys get a ton of visibility. Like, where do you think this is going? Like, just prospecting sale or the front end of the sales process and beyond?
Yeah. Well, as far as the actual sales process goes, we don't do any cold outreach. Like, hard stop. And I grew up in the days before we jumped on. I was telling Heather, I used to call on car dealers. It was 100 dials a day on the phone, yellowpages.com, blah, blah, blah. I walked to school uphill, etc. But that's how we built business then. And now we just find there are easier, more scalable ways. So we actually have tools for this in the sales operating system that we have, and they all revolve around connection. So one, for example, is called the LinkedIn appointment generator. It is just a process that involves having a target account list written down. I don't know how many times I'll talk to a salesperson and say, who are you looking to meet? And they're like, oh, it's very generic, like HR leaders that help with, whatever. I'm like, well, give me a couple companies. And almost always eyes glaze over. I see them like thinking. So having a very specific target account list with at least 20 accounts that you're trying to get into. And then the LinkedIn appointment generator is just using LinkedIn. You don't even have to have sales nav. You go to those companies and in a programmatic way, you figure out who that can make a warm introduction. And then part of the tool is, how to craft that message. It's not necessarily, a script, but it's a template of how to ask for an intro. And then you get a meeting. So that's one of the ways that we do. Also being a good connector yourself. So constantly thinking, I don't know how many times, every time I meet somebody from St. Louis, if like for whatever reason, I'm like, oh, you guys got to meet Rachel and Ryan, and just proactively putting good people together. And then the woo comes back. But that's one of the ways we teach outreach.
I love one. There's a lot of things. Commercial for BZ, blindZebra.com.
Blind-zebra.com.
Blind-zebra. I could not be sorry.
I'll take the promo.
We'll edit that. Blind-zebra.com is we've not stolen because you taught it to us, but like we have incorporated tons of things. Like, I won't say them all because they need to come to you, but like Yeti is one of them. Like, it's a big part of our business. That is a big one. Certainly some of the stuff around LinkedIn and lots of other things. Just concrete next step. Thinking about these things have heavily influenced our success. And it's but what I really like about it is just the way you guys teach it. And instruct it and demonstrate it too. I think that's a failed sales leadership component, is like training is more at you and not demonstrated. And you guys do a really excellent job of demonstrating. And that hits all types of learners, right? If I can see you do it verbally, if I can see you do it visually, it just means a lot more. But the one thing Steph has done many times when connecting us with people is she just sends a video, like connecting, which I think is super cool. And we have absolutely stolen that. So like a video of herself, like connecting people with a whiteboard, like with the person's name. So we know it's not a deep fake.
Yep. So, that's why you do it.
That's why you do it. That's right. Deep fakes. So yeah, lots of really cool strategies you guys have.
I want to see that. Okay, I have a question related to that. I had someone jump into my DMs a couple months ago, and I think it was a voice.
This is a kid show. please.
Yeah.
Please.
Sliding into
I'm
the
gonna have
DMs.
to. I'm gonna have to toggle to above 18 content, and then we.
I feel like I shouldn't say that. Slid into my DMs. That sounds gross now.
See, this is what I do. This is my role. You get it now.
Doing a great job, Ryan.
Thank you.
Ryan.
Thank you.
So it was a voice memo. It was this person saying, "Hey, Heather, I had this idea for you." It was a cold pitch, cold call in my LinkedIn DMs. And I felt like it was so invasive. I didn't know them. I wasn't connected to them. There was no previous history. And now I have a voice memo, which felt like oddly intimate. So what do you think about, I mean, you don't do cold calls like that, right, Steph? So you're using those video introductions only with people that you already know or people that you're 1 degree separated from. How do you do that without making it weird?
Yeah. It's, you know what's funny, Heather? The kids these days, they voice message all the time. Like instead of calling each other, they'll literally, so I have a couple friends that do it and we literally just go back and forth. And it's like a voicemail. So it's interesting. I bet in 20 years when they're all in the seats, that will be a great, and probably they're hitting some really good candidates doing it that way now. But yeah, it's interesting. That's seems like it's on the rise. Video is an amazing tool. Like, you can put a face to a name. I say that all the time in my videos. Like, hey, just want to put a face to a name. This is me. This is what we're doing. We partnered with a really long time with a company called Covideo, like COVID, but EO on the end. During COVID, their T-shirts were noticed a lot more.
We love word mergers. Yeah.
You do. I love the name of the podcast. So Covideo has a platform. Vidyard's one of the big ones. There's a few others. BombBomb. Anyway, it makes it really easy. So they've got an app. They've got a little plugin in your email. And to answer your question, I use it throughout the sales process, but we have specified times in our sales process. When we invite someone new into the conversation, our sales team is required to create a video. And just like Ryan said, we put their names on I may just put like, hey, so-and-so team, if there's going to be multiple people. And it's quick. We hear best practices are 45 seconds to 1.5 minutes. The whiteboard thing is a best practice. And we learned from our friends at Covideo that if you put video in the subject line of the email, it's way more likely to get opened. We have used it cold and had some success, cold-ish, I'll say, or trying to re-engage with somebody that was a marketing lead, but definitely in the sales process and definitely when you're introducing people.
I love it. Somehow I think I would have more trust for video than audio.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I do. I agree. The face to a name, the video, it's more authentic. I could see that. Sometimes I do the voice memo. I found in this 45th year of life or 46, whatever I'm like, I can't type anymore. So sometimes I just have to talk. I don't know. I feel like the buttons haven't gotten smaller. I've asked people, but it doesn't feel that way. But maybe for your guy, just tell him not to use the ghost face scream modulator voice. Maybe that would make it less creepy too.
Yeah, that was probably it.
But it's interesting to see. I imagine you guys get to see a lot of these trends through the sales forces you have access to, and the trialing out things. Because I remember the Covideo thing at one of these events that Rachel and I got to attend with you all. You had the Covideo folks there, and I can't remember her name, but she challenged. She's like, this will feel uncomfortable and it will feel unusual, and you just got to do it. And I think I took a lot away from that, not only just trying things, but also even into this podcast. When we started having this idea, we talked about it with you and Brian, and Brian, has had his for some time. And he was just like, just do it. If nobody listens to it, it's not that scary because nobody's actually watching. And then if they do listen to it, it's because you're actually doing something, that's meaningful. And so I think there is a part of that in these sales iterations that are happening is it's sampling new stuff.
Well, and it's data and seeing what works. And then doubling down. And kudos to you guys. So many people say, oh yeah, I should do that. I don't know how many people say I should start a podcast. And they don't. And this is another way that we suggest people show their thought leadership and their expert persona. Expert persona is one of our guiding principles. How do you show the people that you work with that you know their business? And how do you learn it more? And then, oh, by the way, if you have a podcast, you can invite people to be on your podcast instead of cold calling them. Say, hey, Heather, I see you recently started at OMGP. Ryan, I'm screwing it up. I keep looking at your background.
the Speedwagon.
I know. I'm getting all confused. But yes, coming on to a podcast. PEOMG. Thank you. I also say this is my mom brain. That'll
also be cut. Don't worry. No.
Please.
Yeah, please. No, but what you were saying, sorry.
So having a podcast is a great way to not only show that you know what you're talking about and become an expert, but also to get access to people that you may not be able to. So for PEOMG, if you invite the chief people officer of a really cool company onto the show, they get to meet you in a different way. It's not the voice memo cold on your LinkedIn DMs. So I'm really excited for you guys. You do such a great job. And the marketing alone, I don't know who does that over there, but your Instagram account and the way that you have marketed the podcast is brilliant. So I think it's really cool that you guys did that.
Thank you. Yeah, it did. It came out of inspiration conversation, you and Brian. So it's full circle. So you're applauding your part brainchild here. So we appreciate it. It is cool. It's yeah, we do. I mean, we've certainly. I mean, we've had this opportunity to meet with just really great people. And at the end of the day, yes, there's a PEO bend to it. It's in the name, which everybody loves, and the problem, if it actually does get to a level of success, we know there's a cease and desist letter coming because it is
true.
So there is we kind of have to fly under the radar, or we're going to have to get a new name.
Can't be too popular,
but can't be too popular. But it is, you get to connect with really great people. We've, not only have we had Brian on, now you, but we've had leaders of PEOs, we've had leaders in sports and different spaces and coaching and business. And it's just that's really cool. Because at the end of the day, it's a platform for that, expertise, but it's also a way for people to learn about all sorts of really impactful things.
Yeah. And a place to have fun. I mean, where else do you get to, really targeted, genuine, deep, fun conversations. So that's what I'm all about.
Which they have not been as the host, when I've been the host. So now look at this. My only fear is
look at us now.
The goal moving forward.
Right. My only fear now, if I'm being transparent, is this is going so well with you two. Like, when does Heather come and say, listen, we don't really need you anymore. Steph can join ours. And now.
I would love to be the co-host. I can be, when you're on vacation, Ryan, I can jump in. I know nothing, obviously, as we've been talking about what it is that PEOs do, but.
Yeah, listen.
I'm here for it.
You've joined a good chunk of the PEO sales force in that level too. So,
okay. Fair. Well, part of my job here is to pull us back onto the tracks. Right. So I am going to do that. I want to ask, how big is the Blind Zebra team now? You went from 2. What are you working with now?
We are a tale of 2 scales. I've never said that. That I don't like it. I'll have to rebrand it. We have scaled twice. We've been 2 different companies since I joined. So we started as a single shingle, as they say, a consultant on his own. We grew in that time from early 2020 to 2022. We 10x'd our clients. We went from those 2 employees to 12. We doubled revenue annually 2 times in a row. Like, we were on this high growth path. So that's where I think we were at 12 or 13 full time. We are huge fans of fractional expertise and teammates. So we rely not only on our PEO, but on other fractional experts as well. But we found in 22, what we were doing was not scalable, and it was kind of a house of cards. And so we intentionally stepped back. We started running on EOS. We cast a new vision. Brian came out with a new product altogether. And so we've been in growth mode since the beginning of 24 again. So currently, to answer your question in a really long way, there's 6 of us. We are hiring, so I hope to be at 10 by the end of the year. We have interviews going on right now for salespeople, and we just had a new one start last Monday. So that's where we
That's
are.
awesome.
People size.
So how do you
now
think
a new
about
set of DMs are going to come your way. Now job seekers are coming in as a result of this.
And recruit, yes.
And recruiters, you're right. I'll say we are using a recruiter already. We are already under contract.
Yes. That's like a disclaimer. We are under contract. We cannot use any others.
Yes.
I love it.
Exclusivity.
It's true.
So having a PEO through this whole process, just knocked my mic, having a PEO through this whole process, how do you think about the different pieces of HR? What are the pieces that you feel you can really still hold on to and build your culture versus the ones that you can, allow the PEO to manage for you?
Yeah, you took the word out of my mouth. Culture, our culture and our brand are the same. So it's really important that people embody our core values, that we work hard and play hard. That's so cliche, but it's true. One of ours is we live at the top of the scoreboard, and another one is we're fun, edgy, and drama-free. So you can see how they kind of go together, but they're separate. So we take that part of the business very seriously and very intentionally. And then when it comes to anything that is paperwork inducing, that is where we lean on experts. So everything from payroll, 401k, execution, and all that good stuff, the types of education that need to go out about benefits and what's available to our employees. They handle all that. We actually just hired an ops director, and I said to her, I know we have a handbook somewhere. Can you please call our PEO and see where that lives? So things like that they helped us get set up with before I even knew that we would need them. And then it's there. So that's what we rely on them for.
That's amazing. Yeah. So accessible in that moment where you're like, I know it exists. Let's just pull it back in and breathe some life on it again. That's great.
Yeah. And you can just call someone and they answer and find or whatever it is.
They have your handbook.
Great.
They can give it to you.
They do.
Have it. Yeah.
They do.
When you
go ahead.
Please.
So I'd be curious. You've now been on a PEO. You've gone through rescaling. One of the common conversations that occur in the PEO space around organizations at scale is not only the giving the time back, but being this employer of choice concept that it makes you look bigger than you are. It makes you more well structured than you would be if you were cobbling it together. How
Well, it makes you more organized and put together than others who are that size. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah,
completely.
How, if you can, if there's examples, I'm curious, like how you've seen that impact your employees, or as you're actively hiring, like kind of knowing, like, hey, we got our stuff in order, we got our house in order, so to speak. I'm just kind of curious, as you're actively doing that, what if that gives you confidence or how that makes you feel.
It's a great question. I've had multiple examples of it. When we were back to a 4-person company, when I was interviewing, people say, like, kind of hesitantly, do you have benefits? And I'm like, yes, we do. And here's the package. And it's all very neatly put together. And I know that the packages that we're able to take advantage of through our PEO are way better than anything I would be able to. I don't even know. Can I do that on my own? Go pull together stuff on the market? Maybe. But it would be better than that. And it makes us look professional. So when I'm extending an offer and I can say, here's all the documentation, here's how easy it is to set it up. When we email people right before they start to get their I-9 verification, all the information that's needed to do onboarding, just the fact that the person that's reaching out obviously knows their stuff, they have a process, it's very professional. That has been a big up-leveling for us, especially on the hiring front. I think it just makes us look traditional. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, it makes you competitive in a new space because companies who usually have those sorts of things dotted and crossed are those who are maybe 20 employees plus. And so it brings you as an employer of 6, 10, 12 into a new league because you are polished and you're offering a great set of benefits and structure for people who come in who might actually prefer a smaller team and, prefer that type of environment. But you're able to give them their cake and allow them to eat it too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and
that's
it's
awesome.
interesting you bring up number of employees. I have a question for you guys because this is a common joke at BZHQ. So before we hired our ops director, all of our HR rolled up to, she's our director of experience. Her name is Kelly. Ryan has met her. Kelly is known for rhinestones and doing funny things at company events later into the evening and karaoke. And she is just the embodiment of our fun, edgy, and drama-free. So she was in charge of HR along with our professional PEO for many years. And we joked that we thought that there was some number an organization reaches where they've kind of got to get their stuff together or they face more legal risk. So I'm just curious if that's actually a thing. And if so, what is the number? Asking for a friend.
Yeah, Heather. Yeah, asking for Heather. You got this? No. So it's different numbers. There's a whole litany of things that come into the equation when you cross over 20 employees. Generally has to do with benefits, COBRA, different compliance responsibilities. Then you move into over 50 or at 50 and above, you're moving into different layers. Again, benefits driven, ACA, compliance risk, reporting responsibilities, and then you, depending upon your size and structure and where your employees are set, 75 moves you into a whole new world related to FMLA and other programs that are available to employees, W-2 employees that now has to be fully administered by the company or a PEO. And then 100 is another inflection point in new things. So it happens in tranches that way, but there's one that I would say has happened almost overnight, which is now multi-state compliance. So pre-COVID to now our current state, we have seen organizations span talent access across the country. And we did that with Heather in Arkansas. And then there's now a Missouri-based company where everybody's been in St. Louis, now has to account for what happens in Arkansas. And from state to state, it can be either a non-event or it can be an enormous undertaking just based on how that state is structured. And so now that number is your next hire, depending upon where they are. It is, did I enter the state of Washington or California or Oregon or Colorado or Texas or New York and Illinois, states that some probably seem obviously complex, but some of those states I mentioned are complex and people wouldn't expect that about them. And now what do I have to do? Change PTO policies, change the way I report information at a state level, so it's this 20, if I'm saying broad and there's other numbers, 20, 50, 75, 100, but it's also just one, depending upon where that employee is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I need to take a to-do because we have a candidate coming in from out of state next Wednesday, and he would be our first remote hire. And so I never even thought, but I am going to email our PEO when we jump from this call.
I'll give you a call right after this.
Thank
you. So the game has changed because of a really wonderful thing, which is now you can access talent anywhere with the power of Zoom and people's now shifting their mindset, which kind of going back to that sales conversation, it used to believe sales could only happen a certain way. And now we know more sales happens virtually, obviously, than ever before. And it's a much more efficient mechanism. Organizations that are based in, Colorado are hiring people in Florida. There's a whole cascading impact around compliance and responsibility that employers have that I'll tell you that they do not think about the second, to your point, the second I consider, okay, I like this person from blank state, that is not what you're thinking about. And nor should you be. You should be focused on evaluating if this person is a culturally good fit and they're going to impact the organization in the way that we want this role to impact it, not shoot, I got to deal with this, and this. So yeah, that is a big powerful impact.
That's good to know.
Yeah. You have a nice skill of turning the interview back around on us.
Yeah.
Steph, that was good. That was really good.
It's a discovery call right there. So
That's right.
I'm here to learn too.
I love it so much. So since we are getting a little close on time, I want to give us one last question to think about. And that's really just, what's one thing that you wish more business owners understood about the people side of scaling a company? Now that you're a veteran of a tale of two scales, what's one thing?
I hope that doesn't stick.
It's sticking now.
It's the title.
It is stuck.
It'll be my book
What's
someday.
one thing?
That's right.
Yeah, one thing you wish more business owners understood about scaling with people.
Yeah, well, I'm certainly no expert, but I've had also the opportunity my entire career before coming to BZ to be a part of different organizations and cultures. And one of the things that EOS really hit home for us was the core values piece. And I've been a part of orgs that were really, really good at core values. A specific tech company, they had murals on the walls of each of the core values just so that they were always front and center. We talked about them all the time. They were great. But when we got to the diligence level that EOS demands or suggests around core values, accountability chart, being really, really specific on where we're going and each person's seat and role in that has been monumental because we've been able to plug people into a system instead of reinventing the wheel over and over. Everyone's in a seat. They all have 5 roles. That's it. You have 5 things to do around here and you're accountable for them. You own them. You not only do them, but you are in charge of thinking about them. So you're not waiting on somebody else to come to you and say, hey, it's like, no, I own client success. I'm thinking and doing all the time. So having that structure is the people piece, because then if you can hire for core values, you plug those people in and it is so much easier. And it gives you this freedom to coach and talk about the things that are super important. When we meet for people quarterly, part of the quarterly conversation, the element in EOS is you go through the core values and you rank people and they rank themselves. And sometimes you may be off on one or another. We had a conversation with a new employee recently just about accountability and what it meant. And sometimes it means different things. That's on me. We talked about it. Next time we have that conversation, she's going to be at the plus because she adjusted to what that means. So having a structure, having a system, and then really, truly choosing the right core values and living them out. Like you said, putting them forward. I'm not perfect, but we are talking about them and I'm showing up and I'm saying when I missed as much as I say when I hit.
One last thing. I love that you said that. I think the honesty about when you miss is crucial. And we get into these cycles of being cheerleaders in an organization. Everybody's awesome. Everybody's doing a great job. We're trying to keep morale high. And yeah, people are they're doing great, but we have to be honest about when we're missing it and when we're doing great, working in 4 core values, but missing it in 1. And so that's the only way that we're going to have visibility and be able to improve, not only for our own performance, but for the company culture as a whole. So, love that thought. Accountability.
Well, this episode was not a miss. This episode was not a miss. So
not a miss at all. Yes.
I hope not.
So excited. Yeah. Thank you. Love having this operator perspective in the business, getting to scale twice and seeing how that goes, and love watching your success. So thank you for taking the time to be with us today.
Thank you so much for having me on. And we are cheering for you guys all the time. So you can always reach out and let us know how we can help.
All right.
So
Catch you next time, Speedwagoners.